It's been great, a bit tiring, long day, a lot of repetition, but the students were great, really energised. You could pick out the ones who were really interested, asked a lot of good questions. It's actually my second time I've done it. I did it last year randomly via Zoom, and it's great to be here physically doing it this year. Yeah, great. I really enjoyed it. It's been a long time since I've been back in Notts. Yeah, I just asked Sam, like, how do you pay on the bus? Can you use your card or is it cash now? So walking around seeing all of this is amazing. Yeah, it wasn't really here. When I was here, it was like intermediate, and then Confetti was kind of happening a long time ago. So it's amazing to see all of this stuff that's come up. And then somebody said around the corner they're doing, I thought they said ear sports, but it's like e-sports or something. I was like, wow, that's even a thing you can do now. It's like, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're going to be offering YouTube content creation courses.
No way.
So
it just feels like they've moved with the times. They know what people need. Yeah. I think it's really important. I mean, to get lecturers coming in who are working in the industry, coming in, telling them this is how it's working in the industry is really helpful. When I was at uni, it was kind of like there were a couple of old timers who came in and they'd argue amongst themselves about this isn't the way you should be doing it. So I think it's really useful to try not make it feel like when you graduate it's going to then take you 15 years before you're allowed on set and working with the professionals, and to try shorten that gap. I would love to keep my email available so everyone's like, if I'm shooting you can come down, but I think it's important to have people who are working in the industry right now talking to you so you're up to date, whether it be equipment or practical speakers giving classes, but also then to get access to get those people on set a bit quicker. Something I'd like to help with, but it sounds like you guys are doing it anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did it at uni where it's very rare. Once you leave uni, you're going to have to pay for stuff, like hire equipment. So I was like, if you've got equipment there, build a collective where you can all go out and do this stuff, crew on each other's work. And directing's a muscle, filmmaking's a muscle. Keep flexing it, keep working it while you can, while you've got, whether it's 2 years, 3 years on the course. It's just a wonderful opportunity, especially when Confetti keep regenerating their equipment and they're getting newer and newer equipment. Chris was saying they've got the new Ronin, they've got it. We just use that on a 4-part drama on telly, and they've got it here. That's pretty special. I didn't touch it. I didn't have a clue what I was doing with it, but the fact you can access it here is great. Growing up, I guess I looked around and there was, the King of Knots, Shay Meadows, used to be rocking around. I remember he was shooting, I think he was shooting this, it wasn't This Is England, it was something earlier than that. Nah, the other one. What's the other one? Once Upon a Time in the Midlands. Yeah, so he was shooting Once Upon a Time in the Midlands, just near where I was in Carlton. And I remember me and my mate Waco walked down, we were shooting, you could see all the vans and everything. We got as close as we could before anyone chucked us off. And we started chatting to this guy, and I was like, oh yeah, Kurosawa, Tarkovsky, I was talking all this stuff. And then eventually I was like, oh, what do you do? He goes, I'm a driver. I was like, all right, I was trying to give him like 35mm prints of this, and he was like, I'm just a driver. I was like, okay, cool. But it was amazing to have that, to see those people like Shay Meadows walking around, making stuff. I felt like for a while I was like the next Shay Meadows, you know what I mean? It was like Chris Cook, Simon Ellis, Steve Shield, Ginny Finlay, and then it was Diggs, and then it was me, do you know what I mean? I was down on the list, but it helps to know there's people around you who are, working class, come up from the ranks and then are giving back. Because I always felt like, 2 degrees of separation. You'd see him knocking around, he's not intermediate or whatever, and you could have a word. Not that I did, but you could have a word. And it was helpful to see people like that. Yeah, defo.
Have you crossed paths with him? You spoke to him ever much?
No, I don't think I have. Graham Ford's kind of been there, and I've waved to him, but I did a day on This Is England. Yeah, I did a random day. Austin, my mate, was camera assistant or trainee, and then I came in to press play on a video thing. Messed it up, yeah. I had to leave, but yeah, I had a day on it. And I think it was the 2005 Ashes, and I was outside listening to the cricket, and he came out and sat down for a bit, but he won't remember me, but yeah. Right now, I was a massive fan of I Know This Much Is True, which I think I watched a year ago, but I still think that's a great show. I think it's on Amazon. Dark on Netflix, I think, is a great one. Just watched Swan Song, which had me in pieces, maybe because I've got a kid, but I thought that was amazing. All three of them are really good filmmaking, yeah. I was kind of at a stage where I was about to like just become an electrician, and then my wife was like, you need to grow up. So that's when we sort of got together enough money to go out and make a feature on our own. And when we went out to Pakistan, I don't think I had the pinch me moment when I was out there. It was more when we'd edited it, and then I remember viewing it once with someone, and they were in tears, and then someone else was in tears, and I was like, oh, okay, because this isn't no longer about just me grafting to get that girl to stand there and that cameraman to come over here. They were just following the story. They didn't care about how we'd made it and how we'd been shot at and we'd been in hospital. It was literally, they were following the story, and I think that was the bit where I was like, okay, storytelling matters. And I remembered why I'd done it, because I really cared about the story. That was a really nice moment, yeah. Pinch me moments. Well, do you know, it's weird, because like some of the students were like, what do you do about your nerves? And I don't know, because I play football and cricket, it's like, I like playing. So I like when I'm on set and it's just about the little box, do I believe what they're doing? And I don't step back from looking at, we've got 8 million to make this show. I literally look at, do I believe what that person's saying? It is weird. Occasionally I'll have a moment where I realise someone's treating me differently because I'm the director. And I'm like, oh, right, okay, that's what's going on here. Like, you think I'm that guy, and whereas I'm kind of like, I know everyone's name. And I remember when we wrapped, just on this 4-parter, and when we wrapped, the room was full and everyone's thanking everyone in front of, I had to do a speech, and I only thanked 2 people. I thanked a girl called Mari, who was the COVID cleaner. So she'd walk around set and clean the set. And there was another guy whose name I forgot now, but he was our security guy. So they were the only 2 people I thanked. And I thought it was important that as a crew, you don't just know the DP or the number 1 on the call sheet, you know everyone. And I only thanked the cleaner and the guy on the door, and that's the tone we set through the shoot, which was, it matters. You treat everyone the same. And she realised, oh, he's treating me the same. And it inadvertently had an effect, do you know what I mean, on the whole crew, that, okay, this is how we behave. Like, we're just, we're not going to stand for any kind of weird behaviour. You treat you with respect, regardless of who you are, number 1 on the call sheet or the cleaner. And a lot of people came up to me and said it was genuinely one of the best shoots they'd had, for that reason, that I got everyone together before we turned over for the first time, and I asked them to look at each other. Just take a look at that person, take a look, because you do this together. You can't make anything on your own. So they were like, no one ever really does that. And I think that's when it really matters, If you're passionate about it, it makes hard work easy. And I felt like, let's all turn around and do this by choice. So I'm quite proud of that, actually, a pinch me moment that everyone got it. Because sometimes you have those people in the corner who are like, I'm not interested. But a lot of them, there was a collective of people who bought into that idea, yeah.
It doesn't surprise me, because you're obviously such a lovely guy.
Oh, thanks.
You've always been incredibly humble, and you've an inspiration to people, because you've done what we all set out to do, which is make a load of short films, and then progress to the next phase, so. But
that's, I still say to them,
in terms of your humbleness.
Well, thanks, mate. But I do say that is hard, man. I felt for a long time. I graduated in 2001, and I was telling them, until about, my kid's 4 now, but until about 4 years ago, I had no money. Do you know what I mean? It's a long time to be trying to work for 15, 16 years and not be making any money. And you can only do that if you've got supportive family or a supportive wife, or you've got a side hustle. And sometimes your side hustle becomes your main hustle, and that's when people fall away. And I always joke that, if I'm going to fail, it's not going to be because of me. And then that means you're not going to fail, because I'm going that way. I was always going that way. And they call it luck or whatever, but a lot of jobs I've got has been because somebody else has pulled out. And I was the last guy in the room who wore a badge. It was a bit funny, and they're like, I remember that guy. And you've got to trust in that it will come back to you. If you knock on the door long enough, they've got to let you in. And they didn't let me in, so I went around the wall, basically. I raised the money and made me film myself. Do you know what I mean? I was like, well, you're not letting me in, so I'm going to do this. And it's hard to know that, when you're struggling and you're like, and you're Googling your mate who's already doing that other thing, and someone else is making that film, and you're like, oh, why isn't it me? But if you hold on for long enough, I guess I'm trying to say, working class, we made it. But I felt like I made it for everyone else who didn't make it. I was like, look, I'm doing it for you guys as much, which gives me the strength, you know what I mean? And now giving back, doing this stuff, I'm actively emailing them saying, like, can I help? I'm skint, so can I come in and do a chat or whatever? But I do think that's important, leaving the door open behind you, yeah. Loads, absolutely loads, yeah. I mean, I've got a kid now, which makes it tricky, and, I love to go Hollywood, Bollywood, just keep challenging myself, yeah, big time, yeah, let's keep challenging yourself, that's what I want, yeah. don't know. I think it's really important to, you know, I was saying earlier, to try find your voice and not be shy of that, and leaning into your power, which is who you are and what your opinion is. Don't try to be someone else, and realise everything you've gone through, the good and the bad, you know, the scars, they inform who you are and they inform your choices. And that's what separates you from the next person, and that's your power, and lean into that. And it took me a while to realise that, and I think that's really important.